I wanted to talk about this awakening process. And I'm going to try to get into detail, but not too much detail because I don't want to ramble. So when you first experience it, there was a catalyst. There was something that started that fire. And it's usually an intense experience: the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, loss of a job, your car blows up. It's usually along those lines. And by grace, because that's the only thing that really exists, is grace, source, things start clicking. And you see through the veil. You see through the fabric of reality to what really matters and what really doesn't. These self-fulfilling concepts that are ego-based are just a distraction from who you really are and what everybody else is. I mean, we're all the same person looking through different eyes. You're not special, I'm not special. Gurus aren't special. There is only the ripening of fruit. So we're all oranges, and some ripen at a different pace than others. And inherently, that really doesn't mean anything according to the big scope of things. So when I was going through my thing, and I don't even like calling it awakening because it's a really weird word. It's a knowing. You don't believe things anymore, you just know them. And if you don't know them, you don't believe them because there's no reason to believe them. So it either is or it is not. And when you first go through that, it's so blissful, you just go, my God, am I enlightened? And I never had any verification for that. I studied Zen Buddhism for a long time, and that was the catalyst. I mean, that was the thing that they concentrated on, was the enlightening. And then I went, I don't know if there is such thing as an enlightenment. I think maybe there's just a series. And so that belief turned into a knowing that there is not a singular event. It's ongoing, it's constant, but there is a process, and there seems to be some type of rules to it, depending on where your ego is and the thoughts that come in your mind every day and how you tackle those and wrestle with them, because it's a fight. You're fighting yourself. I mean, that's why you feel like you're going crazy, is because you're fighting everything you ever knew, and you are really losing your mind in the best way possible. So that first breath of awakening, and God only knows how long it lasts, it's very individual. Just like religion, it's very individual. Spiritual practice, very individual. Find the thing that burns you up and makes you feel the right way. And that's it. Whether it be Jesus or Krishna or Muhammad, Buddha, Lao Tzu, whatever guru or awakened being sparks your interest. And if none of them do, then don't bother. Just find your inner guru, your way, and follow it. Things that come naturally, it's yes or no answers. There's no maybes. There's like, do I want to eat meat? No. Why? It doesn't do me good. It doesn't settle in my stomach right. It makes me feel lethargic and empty and void, and it doesn't digest quick enough for my energy levels to go back up. So there are rules of engagement. But what happens is, after that blissful time, that blissful period, we start going through the dark night of the soul. And it's not perfect in and of itself. You go from blissful to depressed and back, and it doesn't last very long. It's like skipping on the water, you know. You have whole days that are beautiful and perfect, and other days that things rise up, and then, like myself, I would try to fight it and go no, and not think, you know, clear my mind, concentrate on nothingness, you know, and that doesn't work. You have to confront it. You can't blank it away. So when the feeling arises, it's usually body-based, and then if you allow that, it comes into the mind, and you can think on whatever that feeling might be: sadness, anger, bitterness, depression. And if you sit there long enough with it, you know, put your phone aside, turn off the television, get a nice quiet environment, and just sit there and be that feeling. Just be. Let it engulf you completely, and then the answer usually will come. And it's some trauma that you've went through at one time, and it's a belief system that you've constructed that no longer works. And so you have to lose that part of your mind. That's the most constructive way to do it. So after sitting with it for a while, usually it will expose itself, and then it's an aha moment, and it was the easiest explanation. Like, why did that person do that thing to me at that time? And it's not that. It's, why did I react to it that way? Why did I build walls and create belief systems to justify their actions? I mean, the heart of the matter is we have no idea what we're doing until we do. And so you can't blame your parents for all the bad things they did, because they didn't know any better. I mean, you're talking generational trauma, ancestral traumas, karmic laws that move and bend and twist. I mean, it's almost like you're dealing with and it's not almost like it is, you're dealing with the entire karmic evolution of all things at once. And any of those things can slip in at any time, for any reason. But one of my epiphanies was that the root of suffering is thought. It's thinking yourself into holes that you don't think you can get out of, but you always have a ladder on you. Always. There's always a way out. And the second epiphany that I had was forgiveness and what it means. And I was abused as a kid, and that's neither here nor there. But looking at the abuse, it was abusive to me. I took it as abuse. I could have thought about it in a completely different way. That does not foo-foo the fact that people do some gnarly stuff, but it does foo-foo the fact that you think it worse than it was. And the forgiveness is that nobody has any clue what they're doing. They're just repeating cycles. And that's not their fault. They just don't know any better. It's like having an empty tool bag. And as you go along in life, you get new tools to deal with the things that you need to deal with at the time you need to deal with them. And if you don't have any tools in your bag, how are you going to raise a child? How are you going to be best friends with somebody? How are you going to be vulnerable or authentic? How are you going to be real? How are you even going to know what real is? So that's the blessing of the awakening process, is the understanding of who you are and what you're doing and what you've done, how you've enabled people to be the way they are and took their issues to heart as your own, and they're not. I mean, it's so easy to get in an argument with somebody over politics or religion, or, those are the big two. It's much more substantial to let it be. You don't have to tell anybody your opinion or your thoughts or your feelings on things. All you have to do is try to be kind and remember love, remember compassion, remember loving kindness. That's the real thing. So all the spiritual teachers that I've looked at on YouTube and the internet and books, they don't give you a clear message as to how it works, because you're going to have moments of bliss, and you're going to have this dark night of the soul, and then you're going to have the void, and they're going to go back in on each other and twist and turn, and you're going to experience all of them at once, and some of them and there's no clear path. There's no direct path. It's all very individual. It's whatever. I mean, it's karmic, so it's whatever you experience when you experience it. You just sit with it, allow it to be. If meditation helps, by all means meditate. Kundalini yoga, if that helps, my God, do it. There is no one practice better than any other practice. There might be some quicker pathways, but at the heart of it, everything leads to the same place. Everything is source. So getting back to source is as easy as finding a road that takes you there, because all roads lead to source. So yeah, it's very confusing and it's horrible, but in that confusion and horrid feeling, there's a beauty there. And so you're always looking for that. You're always looking for the butterflies chasing each other on the wind. It's the whisper in a hurricane. It's the easiest, most direct answer. And it's always yes or no. There's never maybes. If it's maybe, that's if there's a feeling behind it, that's your ego. If there's no feeling and it's just a direct yes or no, go with that. Absolutely go with that. That's the universe's way of trying to tell you something. So then you have the void. And that part is kind of weird, because you're no longer who you used to be, but you're not quite yet who you are going to become. And so that's when you really start testing things and seeing where you're at and what you want to do. Do you want to write a book? Because it's usually creativity stuff, and the efforts that you put into things are the things that come back to you. So effort-wise, it's whatever thing that you can create that makes you feel correct. Not good, not bad, correct. It's a natural state of being. And that's hard too. But once you start doing that, that's when you get into life purpose type stuff, where, I mean, life purpose isn't like some massive major thing that you're going to do. It's not having a Ferrari over a Volkswagen Bug. It's doing the thing that comes the most natural to you. And it might be several things. You might be wanting to be a better parent. You might want to start your own company, create content, whatever it is that drives you and that makes you not feel, but makes you understand purpose better. That's where you should go. And there shouldn't be any major feelings involved in it. There should be no real expectations. It's literally I need to do this, I'm going to do this. And to hell with whatever the consequences are. I mean, you're not going to reach everybody, but you're going to reach the people that need to be reached by your very specific voice. And in that's the reason you had to go through the dark night of the soul. You had to get over the fears, the things that scare the hell out of you, that keep you in this comfort zone, this spiral of doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results. It gets you out of your comfort zone. You start hanging out with people that you would normally have not hung out with. You start eating foods that you wouldn't normally have ate. You start an exercise routine that you would have hated before. You quit smoking, you quit doing drugs, you quit drinking alcohol. You stop using dopamine as an excuse for existence. You know, all those chemical release, getting laid, you know, chronic dating, the need for self-fulfillment through other things doesn't taste as sweet. It doesn't taste bitter, it just doesn't taste sweet anymore. So let it burn you alive. That's the best excuse. Just be with it. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. You're going to come out of this. All right? And don't bother with the people that say, oh, it could be 3 or 4 more lifetimes. It could be 1,000 lifetimes. Don't worry about that shit. Just do your thing every day. It'll be as soon as you need it. If you've gotten an awakening of any caliber, it's going to continue. Because God is looking for you just as hard as you're looking for God. And you can change that word God to source, universe, cosmos, the all, whatever fits your need. Because like I said, we're all creators. We all create every moment of our lives. That's the joke of manifestation, is that you're already doing it. Your thoughts create your world. Where you put yourself in this life is exactly where you wanted to be. And that's a hard thing to take, especially like you lose your job. Well, I didn't mean it. Well, it happened the way it happened. It happened for a reason. Maybe you're not meant for that job, or maybe you self-sabotaged that job, or maybe your boss just didn't like you because there was a certain energy or vibration about you that they just couldn't handle. And it made them look at themselves. Whatever it is, because there's forgiveness in that. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get along with everybody. Not everybody is going to like you. And that's totally cool, because that just shows you where you don't need to go. Yeah? And it's beautiful. It's absolutely fucking magical. So you don't have to pretend to be the thing that used to be. You don't have to put those masks on to fit into a crowd of people anymore. You'll just know that that's not for me, or that is for me, and you'll go with it. So after the void comes purpose, so like a type of self-realization, and it's unexplainable. You can't really put it into words because words fall flat. They always have. I mean, I've always thought that if we were telepathic and we could just talk with emotion and feeling, there wouldn't be war, there wouldn't be hate, there wouldn't be racism, there wouldn't be politics, there sure as hell wouldn't be a monetary system. We would just do the things that we need to do because that guy's hungry. He needs a sandwich, you know? That guy is sleeping under the stars and he doesn't quite like it. He needs a place to live. That woman has been hurt over and over again by toxic, gross men that are just looking to get their yayas off. She needs a helping hand. She needs a decent person to sit there and talk it out with her, because that is real intimacy. Real intimacy is authenticity and vulnerability. And if you date with that purpose in mind, intention, it's amazing. And not give a damn what comes out of it. Oh, she's hot and I have to fucking talk to her in this way or she'll not like me. No. Talk to her because if she goes away, it was for a reason. It's because that doesn't fit what you're looking for. So I don't know what happens after the purpose part. I guess you'd have to talk to Jesus or Buddha about that. But I can tell you that the path you're on, if you're watching this video, it's for a reason. The path you're on is the path you need to be on. And be easy on yourself. Trust the process. Be easy. Let go. Don't resist. Feel everything fully and let it burn you alive. It will burn out all that karma. It will move you in the direction you need to move. So I love you guys. Thank you for all the comments and likes. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful to hear that I'm doing something that somebody identifies with. And as always, just love each other. Just be a little kinder. Just a little bit. All right? Not saying that you're not, just saying that we can always be a little bit kinder.